Every restaurant you have ever eaten in has one number that towers over all the others. And that number is the rent it pays to sit still. A diner pays $15,000 a month to wait for you to come to it. A coffee shop pays $25,000 for a corner and prays you walk past. An ice cream truck pays nothing to sit still, because it never does. It plays one song, drives to where the children already are, and sells a 40-cent popsicle for $4. That is a 90% gross margin rolling down the street at 15 miles per hour. And yet, more than half of the trucks you heard as a kid are gone. Fuel, permits, and a 4-month summer killed most of them. And yet, one single truck working the right beach in Los Angeles or the right park in New York can do over $1,200 in a single hot Saturday, and a well-run fleet across America will do over $300,000 between June and August selling exactly that same 40-cent bar for $4. That is the ice cream truck. And once you see the shape of it, the whole thing rearranges itself. Because if the margin is that fat, then the business cannot really be about ice cream. And it is not. Before the jingle, one thing from you. What is the single best thing you ever bought from an ice cream truck? And what did you pay for it? I want the truck and the treat and the price. Because somebody watching paid $5 for a Choco Taco the day before they disappeared, and somebody else still remembers the exact sound of the truck on their street. Put it below. And if you're already down there, hitting like and subscribe is genuinely the one thing that keeps these going. Because most of what you hear coming down the street is not for the ice cream at all. And the route it drives is how you find out what these places actually sell. Start with the fact that should sink the whole model before it floats. Yes, the superfans are real. Walk up to any ice cream truck on a 95-degree Saturday, and somewhere in that line is a kid who's been waiting since they heard the first note 3 blocks away. He wants the most expensive thing on the menu. And the truck is genuinely, cheerfully making a little less on him than you think, because he will take the longest to decide and the most napkins. But he is not the customer the truck is built around. A truck does not set its price against its hungriest kid. It sets its price against its average stop. And the average stop is far, far less heroic than the jingle makes it feel when you're inside your house. Roughly 70% of people who hear the truck do nothing. They hear it, they think about it, they stay on the couch. About 20% look out the window. Only about 8 to 10% actually walk out and buy. But of that 10% who do walk out, they almost never buy one. The average transaction is not one bar for one kid. It is 2.4 items. 2 kids plus a parent who says, fine, give me one too. So the truck is not really running an ice cream business. It is running a numbers game, and the number it cares about is the average spend per stop across the whole street. Think of it less like a shop and more like a fishing boat. A fisherman knows most casts catch nothing. A few casts catch one fish. As long as the boat keeps moving to where the fish already are, the empty casts are quietly covered by the stop where 3 kids come out at once. The truck works the exact same way. Your single Choco Taco is a small catch. The family that comes out for 3 $4 bars, 2 $1.50 bubble gums, and a $5 King Cone is the net that pays for the whole block. Get enough houses on a warm loop, and the silent streets vanish into the average. And the average is where the profit lives. It is worth pausing on how big this simple trick got. At its peak, the ice cream truck was everywhere. In the 1980s, there were an estimated 20,000 to 30,000 trucks working the United States alone. In Britain, the Whippy van is still a national institution with over 5,000 licensed vans plus wall-style fleets. In Canada and Australia, the jingle still rolls every summer through suburbs built for it. Cul-de-sacs with no shops, where the truck is the only store for a mile. And the biggest of them all figured out that a song scales better than a store. Mr. Softy, more than 600 trucks across the northeast of America. A company started from a single truck in Philadelphia in 1956 that now does tens of millions between April and September. In Britain, Whitby Morrison has built over 80% of all vans on the road, a factory that has supplied the same jingle for 60 years. The format spread because it solved the real problem on both sides of the window. For the customer, 0 effort. No drive. No queue. The store comes to the curb and leaves. For the operator, no rent, no tables, no waiters. A kitchen the size of a closet that can relocate 3 blocks if a street is quiet. Done right, it is one of the most efficient ways to deliver impulse anyone has ever found. Now, watch how they protect that average, because almost none of it is left to chance. The first and biggest lever is what most people never even register as the cost: moving. A normal shop pays rent whether it sells or not. An ice cream truck pays diesel. The truck itself is the entire building. A used truck costs $15,000 to $30,000. A new custom build with soft-serve machines, $80,000 to $150,000. That is cheaper than the deposit on a coffee shop in London or New York. There is no lease, no landlord, no renovation. The kitchen is 2 freezers, a soft-serve head, and a window. But moving is not free, and this is where most people's math falls apart. Diesel on a stop-start loop is brutal, $40 to $80 a day in summer. The freezers run off the engine or a generator, burning fuel even when the truck is parked. Insurance for mobile food in America and Britain is 40% higher than a static shop. And the product, even at 90% margin, is still bought by the case at wholesale. That case is where the first margin lives. A box of 24 branded ice cream bars that you pay $4 for cost the driver about 55 to 85 cents each through a wholesaler like Blue Bunny, or in Britain through Whitby suppliers. A king cone that sells for $5 costs about 90 cents. A soft-serve vanilla with flake, 99p in Britain or $3 in America, is about 18 cents of mix and 5 cents of cone. Hold on to that word, because case is the thing that explains everything later. The second lever is how little it costs to staff the case. There's 1 person in that truck, sometimes 2 on a hot Saturday. 1 driver, 1 server, often the same person. No cashier, no cleaner. In an ordinary food business, labor is 30% of sales. In a truck, is the owner working 11 hours and calling a wage. An outsider sees a truck with a line of 8 kids and thinks fortune. The owner sees 8 bars at $3.40 profit each, $27.20, minus $6 in fuel to get there. Keep the truck cheap. Keep the crew to 1. Buy the case at 70 cents and sell by the hand at $4. And the business that looks like it sells joy from a window just printed 85% margin, 1 jingle at a time. And thin is the honest word after fuel, because a healthy truck lives on volume per stop, which is exactly why the next part matters so much. Because on fuel that expensive, they cannot simply hope you come out. So they make you. It begins the instant you hear the song, because that song is not music. It is a location alarm. An ice cream truck does not have a sign. It has a jingle that carries 4 blocks through open windows. Research on the Mr. Softy chime found it is engineered to be heard above traffic, but below the threshold that triggers a council noise complaint if kept under a certain speed. It is bright, repetitive, and impossible for a child to ignore. And the song does a second job no sign ever could. It creates scarcity. A shop sits still. You can visit it later. A truck is moving away. Every second you wait, it gets quieter. Psychologists call this distance urgency, and the jingle is a live demonstration of it. The music fading tells your brain you will lose the chance if you do not move now. Children do not debate $4. They run. Then there is the menu board, and the menu is never an accident. Look at the board on the side of the truck. The cheapest thing is never at eye level for a child. The bottom row has the $1.50 bubblegum and the $2 rocket pop. The middle row, at a child's eye line, has the $4 to $5 character bars, the SpongeBob with gumball eyes, the Sonic with a price that includes the license fee to Nickelodeon. The top row has the $6 to $7 king cone or sundae with flakes and sauce. The board is ordered the same way the buffet line is ordered. Cheap and plain where you're not looking, expensive and licensed where your eyes are loudest and your child's appetite is the biggest. And often, the price itself is not even the price you think you're paying. You're paying for 1, but you're buying for 2 or 3. The truck does not price for an individual. It prices for the parent who says, fine, 2 more. That is why there is no single-serve deal that feels good alone, but every second item feels almost justifiable. A single $4 bar feels like a treat. 3 for the family feels like an event, and events bypass price math entirely. The card hides another trick. Look at the trucks that now take tap and phone. A few years ago, it was cash only. The child had $5 crumpled. The parents said that's all you have. The sale was capped by the pocket. Now a truck takes Apple Pay and the cap disappears. A 20 pounds contactless limit in Britain or $35 in America means a parent can buy 4 items without feeling the notes leave the hand. Cashless did not just add convenience. It lifted the average transaction by 20 to 30% in a single year. You're free to buy one in theory. In practice, the jingle plus the board plus the tap makes buying one feel like leaving money on the table when everyone else is having to. And underneath all of it sits the simplest truth of the whole business, which is that you're a far weaker negotiator than you believe when your child hears the song. Your resolve is loudest when the truck is 2 blocks away and fades fast when it is outside your window and your child is already at the curb. The first 30 seconds are the whole sale. By the 4th chime, you're not deciding whether to buy. You're deciding whether to be the parent who said no to the sound every other kid ran toward. Economists have a dry name for this, social pressure, and the ice cream truck is basically a live demonstration of it rolling down your street. And here is the quiet genius sitting on top of it all. Even after the $4 bar that cost 70 cents, the licensed character face, and the tap that made buying 3 painless, most people walk away feeling like they won. You bought a memory, a summer sound, a photo. That feeling, the sense of having caught the truck before it left, is the real thing the truck is selling, and it is far cheaper to hand out than the ice cream is. Because the value was never in the 70 cents of mix. It was in believing you heard it in time. So where does the money actually come from? Not from the curb. An ice cream truck is an events business wearing a jingle as a disguise, and it has 3 revenue layers stacked on top of that 40-cent bar. There is the curb layer, the one you hear. Bars sold at 85% margin to kids on a cul-de-sac. This is the volume play, but it is weather-dependent and capped at about 4 hours of real heat a day, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. And underneath, that is the private layer, which is where most of the quiet profit lies, because a street stop makes $40, but a private stop makes $500 without moving again. A single truck booked for a birthday party in America charges $350 to $600 for 2 hours. All you can eat for 30 kids. A corporate event, $800 to $1,500. A wedding with a late-night soft-serve card, $1,200 to $2,500. The same freezers, the same mix, but now the customer guarantees the traffic. No chasing streets. No fuel wasted looping. One driveway, one event, one invoice. In Britain, a whippy van at a school fete or a county show will do in one day what a street loop does in a week, because the fete organizer pays a pitch fee of 150 pounds to 300 pounds, and then the van keeps every sale. In Australia, beaches and sports carnivals are the same. The last layer is the one the truck never advertises on the side, even though it often decides whether the owner had a good summer. Wholesale and supply. Many of the trucks you see are not owned by the driver at all. They are leased from a distributor who also sells them every case at a markup, plus the rental on the truck, plus the route, plus the branding. A driver might clear $150 on a $400 street day after paying the supplier $220 for stock and fuel. The distributor, who owns 20 trucks, clears $150 times 20 without driving a single street. There's a floor under everything, which means the customer you assumed was central, the child running with a crumpled bill on a hot street, is only the top layer of a 3-layer cake, and the person the business genuinely cannot operate without is not the child at all. It is the mother of a 7-year-old booking a party for 15 kids who will eat 2 servings each and leave the truck parked. You never were the walk-up. You were the booking. And while that jingle was printing margin, the street it rolled down turned out to be remarkably easy to close. Because the first prop is permission, and permission moves. An ice cream truck does not need just one license. In a city like Los Angeles or New York, it needs a city license, a health permit, a fire inspection, a commissary agreement, and often a separate permit for every borough or beach it works. In London, each borough sets its own rules on chimes, with some banning amplified music entirely. A single noise complaint can bar a truck from a lucrative street for the whole summer. That closeness to the curb is exactly what makes it cheap. It is also exactly what made it in 2020 the single most fragile food format there is. The truck did not get more expensive. It became flat out illegal to operate. Streets were empty. Parks were closed. Birthdays were on Zoom. The jingle had no one to chase. Many owner-drivers, with no rent to pause and no furlough to claim, simply parked up and never restarted. In Britain, the number of active vans fell by an estimated 20% in a single year. The cruel part is that people had not stopped wanting ice cream. Supermarket tub sales jumped over 30%. People just stopped needing a truck to get it. The exact feature that had made the truck cheap for 60 years, a single window serving thousands who come to the curb, was the one feature you could not keep running when the curb was empty. The survivors revealed the second crack: fuel and heat. A normal shop keeps its freezers on cheap mains electricity. A truck runs its freezers on diesel or a generator that burns $30 to $50 a day, even before it moves. When diesel prices in America and Britain spiked between 2021 and 2023, that single cost doubled. And heat, which should help sales, now hurts them. Summers are hotter, but shorter and more volatile. A washout July in Britain or a 110-degree heat warning in America keeps children indoors just as surely as rain, and the truck cannot sell what no one comes out for. The third prop is the slowest and the quietest, and it is squeezing the ones that are left right now: the license on the face. The SpongeBob bar with gumball eyes that sells for $4.50 costs the driver far more in licensing fees than the unlicensed Rocket Pop that sells for $2. The character sells the board, but the Rocket Pop pays the fuel. As children move to influencers on phones, the pull of a licensed face fades, and with it the premium the truck can charge. The machine only works while three things stay still. The console allows the song, the weather stays hot but not too hot, and the diesel stays cheap enough to keep looping. Lately, none of those three have sat still. A truck was always underneath the jingle and the chrome, a bet that on any given day, ordinary human nostalgia, dirt cheap mix, and an army of parents who would happily pay $4 to stop their child crying would together cover the diesel and the permits on a kitchen that can relocate 3 blocks if the street is quiet. It is genuinely brilliant and is genuinely fragile. And those are not two separate facts. They're the same fact looked at from opposite sides. The thing that makes the ice cream truck so hard to beat as a parent, that it brings the shop to your curb and will not wait, is the exact same thing that leaves it balanced on a knife's edge the moment the curb, the weather, or the counsel that lets it sing slips away. So the next time you hear that song getting louder, then quieter, watch the board of your child's eye line. Feel your pocket for a tap that wasn't there 5 years ago, and count how many bars you buy when you only walked out for one. You will know what is really going on. You are not buying ice. You are buying a summer you remember by the bar on the only shop in town that moves toward you. And that song was never the product. The 30 seconds you had to run was the product. And that feeling is expensive. If you enjoyed pulling the ice cream truck apart like this, a like and a subscribe genuinely helps this channel more than you would think. And if you want to see the same move, tiny cost out front, clever route, and ritual hiding behind it, go watch our video on how coffee shops survive despite $6 lattes, or how arcades survive when your phone already has 100 free games, or dig into the full money and business playlist on the channel. That one is the perfect companion to this. See you in the next one.